Thanks for tuning in to Seven Figure Fitness Business. Now, today we have a very exciting topic. We had this guy on Facebook last night, G, who called us out. He kind of called us a hypocrite, really, didn't he?
He did. And I really don't like being called out that much. And, but in fairness, like what he raised was a really good point, and I thought that it deserved more of an elaborate response. I think you've got it in front of you, AP. What exactly did he say?
Yeah, so the guy said, so you didn't use organic marketing. So I guess what he means is you don't use organic marketing, but you're trying to get me to work with you through organic cold messaging. For fitness, we are known as the guys or as the team that we don't use organic strategies, and we've got a $6 million business by doing that. Basically what he's saying is, hey, you're reaching out to me about getting some coaching advice organically. So there is a discrepancy there.
In what he's saying there, there's a large degree of truth. That's exactly what's happening. But there's also very clear-cut reasons as to why.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think good on him. I mean, I thought it was so cheeky. I had a good chuckle when I saw the message because it's kind of definitely laced with a bit of a bit of passive aggressiveness. But what we thought we would do for this guy is create an entire podcast just for him. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to drop this podcast episode recording in his inbox as a response. So hopefully, hi, if you're listening to this, and we hope you enjoy the episode.
Yep, and thank you. But also, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for the inspiration, because we were struggling with deciding what we were going to talk about today, and
yes,
put it in the right direction.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you for the inspiration. So, let's move on. So I want to start off with a very important question, which is, why do we use organic strategies for B2B?
Okay, well, in B2B, the level of buyer is far, far more sophisticated than in health and fitness. In health and fitness, it's often easy. We'll meet someone 12 hours later, we've got them on the phone and we've sold them. In B2B, people often need a little bit more trust. Now, particularly the level of the market that we're going for. Who we really want are people who've tried everything before. They've gone to other business mentors, they've failed, they've been ripped off, and then they come to us and we teach them how to actually create a scalable model. Now, just by nature, if you're working with people who've been scammed, ripped off all the time, right, in the past with other mentors, their level of trust is low. And in order to create trust, we need to share a little bit about us and build that level of trust so that they can open themselves up to work with someone again.
Exactly right. We want to also say that what we want to do, and this is absolutely the way you should run your business, is we use what works, and we're certainly not committed to any particular strategy. What we want to do is find what works the best in different markets. We have all the evidence in the world that when it comes to fitness, that paid ads dominates. I mean, we are making over 100 high ticket sales every single week. And obviously what we do get irked by is that a lot of people out there are recommending people go and spend $5,000, $10,000 on a fitness business mentor program that basically just tells them to go and slide into people's DMs. And I think that's why we get so upset, because we have a proven system that works far better than that.
Well, I don't really get upset. It's more so I just want to help people the right way. Helping people build something that's scalable is very, very different than what you're doing with organic marketing, because you're so limited. If you don't already have a following with organic marketing, the time it takes you to get to the point where you're making 10 sales a week takes a really, really long time. However, if you have just a little bit of money that you can invest into paid ads, you can get things rolling. And instead of having to find people, you're just literally putting more people in front of you. Now, the same does apply with business coaching. By all means, we use paid ads as well, but we want that position of authority where people know who we are. And we want to be known as the world's best fitness coaches. And you can't do that without having a personal profile, without having that sort of level of status.
Yeah. And I want to pull back to something you said earlier, because you'd mentioned that you don't get upset about it. I think one of the reasons why I get upset about it when people get charged a lot of money for organic strategies, is that I'm the one who speaks to them on their calls when they're looking to join a program. And honestly, it is so common that people either they're on the phone and they're terrified because they have gone with 1, 2, 3, 4 mentors before, often dropped somewhere between 20 and 50K, and they've had very little ROI. So I'm speaking to people who it's literally like ruined their lives, or it's stressed them out. It's like given them a massive debt. And these people are freaking out. So their level of trust in the industry is just, it's completely decimated. And I think like what we're trying to do here is kind of heal that wound and give people a really, really effective approach more than anything else. We want it to be ethical in the sense that they actually get a result. They get a return on investment. That's what I meant.
Yeah, of course. I misunderstood that. No, I think that's the big thing. And that's exactly who we want to help, right? We want to help people who have been in that situation, have spent lots of money. This is about helping people build a real, genuine business. This isn't about the small time, hey, message a few people on Facebook. This is like, how do you create an organization that not only is bringing in a level of work, but how do you actually grow that and employ staff, hire salespeople, build things up?
Exactly. Now our company is called Systems by Design, right? And obviously that name would suggest that we like to use systems to improve our business. When you're doing organic in a fitness business and you're the one man or one woman team, that is incredibly time consuming. It is very unreliable, and you can end up spending a lot of time and effort and getting very little back. And that's one of the things that we don't like. So when we use organic, and yes, we do use organic in our B2B work, everything's all about impact and scalability. We want to make sure that all of those activities for us are highly leveraged. So I want to kind of go through a few of the things that we do and kind of run through how it works for us. So the first thing is we have a podcast, which I'm sure isn't a shock to you if you're listening to this. But why do we do a podcast? Well, first of all, not many people have the balls to do a podcast. It's a very scary thing. So it immediately makes us stand out in the industry. The second thing is that a lot of people don't have the knowledge, the experience, or the track record to be able to do a podcast that lands because they don't already have a successful business. And I guess the third thing is they're not willing to spend money on getting a podcast edited and all that sort of stuff. So a podcast for us is something that we want to put out there because it allows us to stand out from the crowd and not sink into the mediocrity, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Absolutely. Having a podcast is one of the highest sort of levels of organic that you can possibly do, purely because the level of conversation that you have is greater. People make their videos, right? And they'll talk on Facebook. But a podcast actually allows you into the mind of Andrew and myself as we discuss really, really granular details of a particular topic. And it allows you to learn a lot more and kind of see how other people are thinking. So I want to add in here that if you've got your own, you've got your own fitness business, doing sort of this stuff is really powerful. It is something that you 100% should be considering doing. And I just want to say that it definitely goes hand in hand with doing the paid ads. For us, we just didn't need any organic marketing to get our business to where it is.
And we talked just a second ago about the fact that we do what works. We're not set on any particular thing. Now, one of the main reasons why we decided to do a podcast is because we got some advice from some very key mentors of ours. We've spoken about Charlie Valor before, but the other person that we modeled this off was our good mate, Matty Ryder, because he had a podcast that absolutely, it's killing it. And it's really helped him connect with his community. And I think we just figured that we could add so much value to people by doing the same thing. So we're modeling a system that is actually working and proven to work for people that are willing to give it a go.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does make you an authority. Matt Boone, watching him grow has been crazy, like the rate at which he's going. He does that off the back of marketing himself. He is the personality. And then you look like, hey, you've got, for example, Tony Robbins. Do you think if Tony Robbins' business name was called Pinnacle Health Coaching, it would have the same ring to it? No, it's the person that they buy into. And with Systems by Design, the three of us, it's Andrew, and Iggy. And we want people to know who we are. And that also goes hand in hand. Like if we want to go to the top of the industry and we reach our goals of being the best Fit Pro coaching business in the world, that's where we've got to go. And that's another basis for using organic.
Yeah, and I think like your comment about the sophistication of the buyer, when you're going to sign up for a mentor program or a business coaching program, you really do want to know the people running that program. And I think that's why it's so important. But for fitness, I don't think it's necessary as much. You need a story, but I think like people need to feel that the system works and that they connect to your story. So I just think, yeah, as you said, with the length of the buying cycle in organic, for B2B. That's why I think organic is such a powerful strategy for that particular market. Now, we also use Facebook posts and we use a free Facebook group, which, by the way, if you're not in the Facebook group, 7-Figure Fitness Business, go and join it. We do give away lots of free value in that is designed to make you sales without having to spend any money. So that's something that you should certainly go and look at. But, all of these things, these are all about leverage and scalability. A group is something where we can post a couple of incredibly high quality videos a week and get results from that. And I think that's something that we do because it gets us results in a scalable amount of time.
And being systems by design, we do this in such a way that it's very well leveraged. All of the content is our own, but for example, we have a copywriter. So I'll send our copywriter a voice note, and then she'll write up a piece of copy for me. She'll put up a post for me based on what I wrote, because we want it to be really, really good. When it comes to all of our videos, this podcast, we have a team who manages our podcast, puts it up everywhere that it needs to go, whether that's Spotify, Apple, YouTube, you name it. And that team will also run ads for the podcast. They will ensure that it's quality and it's got the nice little banners around it if you're actually watching us on YouTube. There's a lot of stuff there that makes this really easy. So we've got an extremely leveraged version where we're actually spending a lot of money of organic marketing.
Yeah, I was getting the last time I got a haircut, I remember being in the chair and the hairdresser said, oh, what are you up to today? And I said, oh, we're recording a podcast episode. Oh, that's fascinating. Like, how do you record a podcast? How do you know where to post it? And I was like, to be honest, mate, I have no idea. We just record a video and we send it to our team and they get everything done. That's an example of a well-leveraged, system. And it's obviously something that we hope provides value to people. And obviously it provides value to us as well. But that's an example of a well-leveraged tool that we use that really provides a lot of impact to people and hopefully to our business as well. Now, the final thing I want to discuss, and this is another really important thing, is we also use organic in really well-known and respected groups like, say, AJ Morton's group, which is Fit Pro Mentor Review, which, as far as I know, it's the biggest independent review site or Facebook group for fitness business mentors. Mentors aren't allowed in it, so we're not allowed in it. But effectively, when you're seen to be getting good reviews, I believe AJ approached either you or Iggy at some stage and just said, hey, I'm getting good feedback about what you guys are doing. Would you be interested in coming and presenting? Is that what happened?
Yeah, pretty much. He came and asked us to start presenting in the group because he just had a lot of respect for us. He saw kind of our progress. I reached out to him 18 months ago and just started talking to him about, where we were at, what he was doing in the space. People go in there and we're leaving really good reviews about us. So then he's asked us to come and present and help out his community. It's really, really good because what people get to do is they get to kind of see everyone's reviews and find out who the top mentors are and who the ones that you should run away from. It's a complete fair marketplace because everyone has the opportunity to write a review equally. And that group, if you're looking for a mentor, that's probably the most powerful place. That's probably the best place you can go. And AJ, who runs the group, is probably one of the most powerful people in the Fit Pro Mentor space, just purely because he's able to has that space to actually be able to crush someone's business and call them out when they're doing a shitty job.
I think he's doing really great things for the industry. I mean, I remember when he actually said that he was going to allow us to present. He didn't just allow you guys to do that. I mean, he basically got on a session that I believe went for somewhere between 60 and 90 minutes and drilled you with questions about the business, because it's incredibly important for him that he's not giving somebody a shout out if they are delivering a substandard result. And I genuinely believe he's not committed to anybody. If somebody starts to get consistently bad reviews, that's going to turn his opinion of you very, very quickly. And that is so powerful because he's literally there keeping the industry honest. And if people out there have an amazing sales and marketing department, but a shitty program that doesn't get people results, those are the people that are getting called out in AJ's community on a more and more regular basis. Once again, shout out to AJ. We'll have to get him on the podcast sometime to have a chat about what he does for the industry. But yeah, if you're not in that group, go check it out.
Yeah, and that's exactly like if you look at our ideal customer, and I sort of mentioned this at the start, our ideal customer is someone who's been in that group, because the people who seek out that group are the people who've had a mentor and they want to write a review on them because they had an awful experience and they never want anyone else to be hurt the same way that they were hurt. We want people who've already started their journey. They might already do organic marketing, but now it's like, all right, next level. Sure, we help people when they're getting started, but also we've actually got our business to back things up, a business that's on track to do $6 million this year. And for people to be able to leverage off that, piggyback off our results, understand what we do and replicate our systems, because our systems aren't just, hey, build a 6-figure business. Ours are like, build a $6 million business, follow what we do.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And whenever we've spoken to AJ, I suppose what we're trying to do is really explain to him what we do and how we help people. And then he asks us a lot of questions to get a clear understanding of who are the right people for us. And also very clearly, and this is incredibly important, who are the wrong people. We don't want somebody in our program if they're not a good fit, be it because they think that they need something that we can't give them, or they want something that we don't have. Right. So that's part of that filtering process. Like, you want to only have people in your program, be it fitness or a mentoring program, that are actually aligned with the service that you provide.
Yeah, 100%. As soon as you start putting people in there, you end up it takes up all of your time. Mm-hmm. You think about your clients, and it's like 10% of your clients take up 90% of your time, right? Yeah. So it's never, ever worth having people in there who are going to be that person who stops you from doing other work, right? You're far better off just having a platform to be able to find more people and have a greater volume and be selective with who you work with.
Exactly. Cool. All right. Well, just before we move on, do you have anything else to add about why you believe organic does work so well for B2B, business to business?
I think we've covered it all. I just think that, again, just to summarize it all, it's about making yourself a celebrity, make yourself trusted, and the level of trust is just that high in comparison to fitness.
Why do you think that when people are starting out, that paid ads are a better first choice with their fitness business as opposed to organic?
The thing about it is it allows you to scale much, much faster. It allows you to create something that's predictable, that money is going to come in. It makes you think more like a real business owner, in that you're thinking a positive return on investment. With organic, it's very attractive to people because they go, hey, I don't have to spend any money, which is exactly not what we do. We spend more money, like lots of money on our organic. But what you're doing here is you're going, okay, well, if I put $10 into ads and I know that I can get $50 back from my ads, that's a good investment. And then all you have to think about doing is, all right, well, how do you increase the scale on that without reducing the quality so that keeps on happening? So you put your $10 in there, you get 50 back. You put your $100 in there, you get 500 back, right? You put 1,000, 5,000, right? Yeah. And we just keep on going like that, developing a real business and having a platform for you to be able to continually do that as you want to make more and more money.
The way that I sort of describe it, I'm not a marketer, but this sort of analogy has been something that's helped me to really understand a difference about it. Is so many people teach organic to fit pros. And I think the reason why is that it's easier to get started. There's less information really that needs to be translated. You just have to slide into people's DMs and start telling them what you already know. Obviously, it can be a little bit more complicated than that. But the way I see it is, let's say you've got a destination, right? So you're standing on let's say the East Coast of United States, you want to get to the West Coast. Now, organic is like walking. You can get started straight away, but it's going to take you a long time to get to your destination. Now, some people strike it lucky. Sometimes you get a lift for free, but not everybody does. And a lot of people end up really frustrated with the time that it takes. I think paid ads is kind of like driving a car. There's a learning process to get started, and that deters people. You might have to you learn how to work the clutch, the steering wheel, the brakes, all that kind of stuff. But once you get started in that process and you know how to drive, you're going to get to the destination a lot more reliably, faster, without all the bad weather along the way. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's a funny analogy, but it kind of does describe the difference between the two.
I really like that a lot. That's what this is all about. It's about getting results quickly and actually having something that's sustainable. People can have a huge audience, and sure, they're going to have a better result at organic initially, but that audience size has to keep on growing. Whereas if you're starting out, you've got no profile, 15% body fat, you just want to help women with thyroid problems like myself, how do you actually grow that audience quickly? It's a very, very slow burn. Now, compared to what we do is we effectively put out an ad to find women who have thyroid problems, right? So that's like, think about that. How do you find women with thyroid problems without ads? It takes forever. When we started this out, we'd find a woman who had hypothyroidism for like 70 cents. And we were able to then put them into a Facebook group and then start our 7-day challenge. So you can imagine like all the time and effort for just 70 cents to find each one. It's crazy to not be doing paid ads at that, because you literally, what it would take is, in terms of like years and years and years, we can get the same traction in a year in one day as someone else would get in like multiple years.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about this from a sales perspective, right? So on a sales call, somebody who wants to lose weight, now often they are more motivated by the cost of inaction. What happens if they don't lose that 20 kilos, 40 pounds, and they're a pre-diabetic, or they've got really life-defining self-confidence issues, or they've got really bad knees that might result in a surgery? Their cost of inaction is usually higher than the cost financially of the program itself, right? So that's why they take action. And I see this as very similar, is that people are often put off paid ads because, yes, you have to spend some money on ads to get started. But what is the cost of inaction that you are not considering by looking at the problem only in terms of ad spend? Well, it's opportunity cost, because it's going to take you so much longer to get to your goal if you ever do it. And how many thousands or tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars may you miss, and how much of your very precious time may you waste during that time? And I think that's the thing, is like, people have this perception that getting started on paid ads is so complicated and so expensive. Yes, it's complicated. So you need someone to break it down for you simply. But when it comes to the cost, like, how much does it actually take for somebody who doesn't have a lot of money to start using paid ads?
This is one of my pet hates. You often get Fit Pro mentors that are going to say, all right, do 30K months before you spend money on paid ads.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make any sense. And each case has to be, discussed on its merit, because you can literally spend let's say $5 a day on paid ads, and you could put 5 people into a Facebook group, and then you could harvest from that Facebook group by bringing in those 5 people. Or you could spend your time trying to find those people. So you spent $5 for 5 people. You're looking at converting these people into a $2,000 or $1,500 program. Like, the numbers just add up when you can give them that specific amount of time. My general feeling on it is that you don't have to spend a huge amount of money. Just start small. That's exactly what we did 3.5 years ago. But it was like, okay, I think we spent $300 on our first challenge, and we had like 350 people or something along those lines show up, of which like the crazy number was like 200 people or something ridiculous did our actual challenge.
Yeah. Well, I know you said to me that, like, when people start off with paid ads, say, for example, in the mastermind, you don't actually allow them really to properly launch their ad spend until everything's been checked off, because you don't want them wasting money on shitty, ad copy or images, or, without a well-defined brand or niche, right? So obviously there are things that there's a checklist, right, that a lot of people don't know about. And you basically run them through a checklist to make sure that they have every box that's ticked, so that when they actually push go on the ad spend, they're going to have the highest chance possible of getting really affordable leads, which therefore lead to sales. And then they're in a position where, they're already making an ROI.
Yeah, well, the mistake people make is they try to run ads on their own without coaching. It's like, you do not need to recreate the wheel. The template of how to run the perfect paid ad to get a positive return is right there in front of you. This is an important concept in business, is the concept of modeling. In school, if you're in an exam, you look over your friend's shoulder and you look at their paper and you copy one of their answers or write a similar response to them, it's cheating. Yeah. But in the business world, if you do the same thing, you model off someone, you see that someone created a wheel and you create something similar to a wheel. Mm-hmm. Awesome. You're fantastic, right? You've created something, but you put your own spin on it. Now, I'm not saying directly copy our shit. Don't go copy our stuff. But, find someone who's made ground in your industry, doing really well, has great stuff, and do something similar. And what we effectively do in our coaching program is we give people the perfect ad template, the ad template that we use, the one that gets updated on a daily basis, because we're always adapting and evolving in the industry.
Yeah. And You're a great example. Like with the things that you've said, right? Don't work this shit out on your own. You didn't do that. I mean, what happened was we now are in a position where we're owner of 4 businesses. We're obviously really happy with our level of success. We want to be far more successful as things continue. But if we take everything back, like go right back to the beginning, like what was that moment where everything changed? As far as I'm concerned, my life and your life changed when you made a decision about, I'm assuming it was 5 or 6 years ago now, to enroll in a mentor program with who was probably the best person in Australia at the time in Facebook ads for the fitness industry. You learned how to do that very, very clearly, and then you implemented what you learned. And over the years, you've perfected it and improved that method beyond belief. You had to actually invest the time and the money to go and get expert advice.
That's exactly right. They just had, like, in that program, ads were a bit simpler back in the day then, and they just had a template, and you just pretty much copy pasted the template, and it was super, super easy. I changed the wording a little bit, made it more specific to the niche that I wanted to work with, changed the suburb to the area that I lived in,
Yep.
Launched the ad, copied the landing page. Again, it was a one-click install. And all of a sudden I was getting leads,
So you had like an incredibly impressive personal trainer business. I mean, obviously it took time and effort and consistency, but you basically started to really crush it, and you started to get a reputation, and your business success was growing. And the only reason, I guess, why you wanted to pivot to online is that what you were losing was time, right? So basically you had a successful business that was effectively running you into the ground because you were becoming so busy. And that's why you sort of made that decision to go online. And since then, your skill set has just been, that skill set that you paid for has been the most valuable thing I would imagine that you've ever done.
Everything that you learn along the way, everything that you pick up and use just allows you to succeed. And I mean, like, if you don't have someone who you're able to model off, don't try and learn this stuff yourself, because it's just an expensive process. Like in business, one of the most expensive things that you can do is grow, because paying to grow means you're paying to experiment. Mm-hmm. If you go and try out ads, even if you leave the experimentation to us. When we go and trial an ad, we figure out, okay, this is probably not going to work, because 9 times out of 10, when you trial something yourself, it doesn't work. Cool. We move on to the next thing. But we're trialing 20 new things in a day. So if we trial 20 new things, we get really fast to what works. And that costs us proportionately more money on the front end to figure it out. But it becomes much cheaper later on. The thing is that myself, our team are extremely intuitive. We already know what's going to work beforehand. So instead of something working 1 in 20 times, 1 in 10 times, for us, it'll probably work more in 1 in 5 times, because we're able to guess based on previous work that we've done.
Yeah. I was just thinking about this. You know what's crazy, man? We are currently at this very moment, between you and I combined, we are working with 5 mentors. And I mean, as in we're being mentored. It's crazy when you think about it. Like, so it just shows, like, part of the way that you get to a destination faster is to take the knowledge, the experience, and the advice of people who are where you want to be or have what you want to have. Now, the mentors that we're working with, some of them are ahead of us. Some of them are on a similar level, but they have knowledge in a specific area that we want, right? And we're not cocky enough to think that we're beyond being taught. So I find that the more successful we get, the more we've actually invested into knowledge, because that's like when you're at the airport and you step on one of those escalators that help you get there faster, right? You see the people that are walking and you're just like walking and going past them at a faster rate. That's what we're doing. We're paying for that, that speed, speeding up of the process.
Everything's got to be viewed as an ROI. Like when you get to our size, like investing in mentorship is really, really simple. There was one program that we did, and we were struggling at the time with our no-shows. And that was like 1% of this guy's course. The course is going to cost us like 10 grand. But in order to, if we resolve that problem, even by 1%, we make that money back in like 2 months. So it's just absolutely a no-brainer, because we saw the system that he was using and we just wanted the template. Could we have gone through and tried to copy his entire no-show system? Yes. Did we want the exact plan to save us time? Yes. And at the end of the day, it was, in terms of the budget that we used, $10,000 is a very small amount to figure that out. And then, off the back of it, we got the rest of the course. There was all this additional free information, but we got what we wanted out of it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not sure if I'm thinking about, because obviously that was a system that you fixed. I'm not sure if I'm thinking about the right program here, but if I am, that might have been one of the programs that we did that is typically considered in AJ's group as not being very good. Am I thinking about the right program?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so the point I'm making here is that that's a program that is typically slammed for not being very good. But what was great is that we were able to find one nugget there that made all the difference for us. Obviously, you want to find a mentor program that is far more rounded than that, of course, especially if you're a beginner. Information is absolutely priceless if it's applied properly.
And I think every single mentor that we've ever worked with, I think that we've probably gotten a positive return out of almost nearly all of them when you add it up. And that return becomes so exponentially greater at scale because tiny little changes make all the difference in the world. It's like you change one knob by 1%, another knob by 1%. And if you keep on adjusting those dials and you're adjusting even by 1% a week, you've made a 52% improvement. Those numbers don't add up, but whatever.
We're actually
it's an analogy. Yeah.
We're segueing here, but I actually think that this is really important stuff to chat about. In a fitness business, I think one of the biggest lessons that we've learned is that it's not actually the knowledge in the program that is what sets you apart often. That can be something, but it's actually people's adherence to the program that really makes the difference. And so in fitness, if you can give people a program that makes them more adherent, it's going to be a better program. And we do exactly the same in business in the sense that we acknowledge that one of the main reasons that people fail is that usually when they get started, they're very overwhelmed and they feel that they get given a very limited amount of support, limited amount of access. If they struggle with something, they're told to go watch a video. And if that doesn't work, try this, and then it's not working. And I think for us, what we've learned in fitness that we've applied to business coaching is essentially that people's first month is so incredibly important. We need to give people a very simple first month to make sure that they can just take all those complex things and implement them as easily as possible. You said every mentor we've ever worked with have gotten results. I think one of the programs particularly, as I said, that program's not rated very good on a consistent basis. But if you are in a good program, the two biggest factors are going to be adherence, / hard work, and communication, right? Like if you have a problem, just tell somebody, ask for help, right? And do it consistently in a way that is respectful. And I think if you do that and you're given advice by somebody that actually has the knowledge that you're looking for or the skill set, it's going to be an incredibly successful commitment for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like you've got to bait judge these mentors off different things. It's like there's mentors who get results with the very top of their class, but what about mentors who are getting results with everybody?
Yeah.
That's a very different story because there are people who struggle with tech. Like I understand tech immediately, but someone like yourself, AP, who self-proclaimed is very poor at technology.
Hate tech.
Yeah. If the program isn't designed for all levels of understanding, you have no chance of actually succeeding in that program. So the mentor can be at fault even when some people are getting results and other people aren't, if they haven't actually thought out about the audience that they're helping.
Yeah, I'd say 100%. I mean, there's two sides to the coin here. The program itself has to be very powerful, but very simple to understand and implement. But there's always going to be miscommunication, or I should say misunderstanding. And that's when the support of a program really needs to shine through. And I think that's what we want to aspire to have, is a program that is the best, but also delivers the most support. And if we can do that, we're going to have a very happy and successful membership. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.